Hi, I'm Mark with Macroscopic Solutions. Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking all of the final output image stacks that we have completed from our sample, and we're going to batch edit those and prepare those for 3D modeling. But I also want to review some other important things to consider and do as we move forward to ensure that no data is officially lost, mainly with respect to scale bar. So first thing we're going to do is navigate to the output folder where we have been saving our output images. So we're going to navigate to the specimen that we've been using for demo purposes. That's this one here, ending in 545. Okay, so these are all the individual folders that we put together for individual focus stacks. And this is the final output image where all those final images have been stored. So there's a couple things that we might want to do. I would recommend first just sort of reviewing all of these images. Just look them over, make sure that everything was split up correctly when you used folder acts. If you didn't split them correctly, you might have an image where clearly you've stacked photos that are from different sections in the series. So as we sort of kind of roll through, I'm also going to open up Photoshop and get that started. Okay, so now that I have the image open, we're just going to take a little bit of a closer look. One thing you want to look for is check the perimeter. Make sure that there's no streaks from stacking in the wrong direction. It looks like here that you can kind of see some streaks in the upper hand left hand corner. That's just from dust from an unclean lens, which I've been neglecting for a little while. But when we do focus on the specimen itself, you can see, even though it's quite hairy, we have details beyond the hairs. We have details on the wing structure. And there's no particular section which is just showing up bright white, which is sort of an indication that it's an overexposed area that the 3D modeling software might have trouble recognizing. There's also no areas on here that are too dark. Even though this is a dark colored specimen, we hit it with quite a bit of light so we can make out just about every structure. Nothing is blending into the background. And I would say that's true even when our universal stage is in the way or gets behind the specimen. So we can open up another one of those images and take a look. Yeah, so we'll open up this image where we have the stage, which is contrasted directly against the specimen. Yeah, and same story. It looks like we have the entire specimen. There's really good contrast against, from the specimen, from, relative to the stage that's situated behind it. And again, there's no streaks. So one thing I would recommend is, let's say you do have an image that does have streaks because you stacked it in the wrong direction. What I would do in that situation is I would first refer to some image that you can use as a proxy. One that's generally just a good lateral view. Yeah, so something down here where the stage is out of the way. Let's open up this file. And one thing that might be really good to do for scaling is just to add a scale bar to one of these images and save it in an external folder in case you ever need that information later. So Agisoft Metashape, aside from just building 3D models, also allows you to do very sophisticated volumetric measurements. And in that case, you do need a bit of a scale bar. So we know that we shot this image at 1x magnification on the MPE 65mm. So what we're going to do is we're going to navigate to the scale bar suite, which everybody has. We're going to select the 1x scale bar. Because we have a white background, we're going to choose a black scale bar. And we are going to size it up so that it matches the camera sensor. Now, of course, for obvious reasons, if there's any cropping or batch image cropping, you'll want to do this before you do a batch image crop, or else you're going to lose the ability to apply a proper scale bar. So what I'm going to do now is just sort of file and save as this image as a final output. We will navigate to that folder. Here we go. And we can just create a new folder in here. And we're going to call it scale bar proxy. In this image, you can save it as a, it seems like most people want for this project save in TIFF, so I'd recommend just saving it as a TIFF file down here. For my purposes, I'm just going to save it as a JPEG. Oop, let's see. Okay, there we go. Make sure it's the highest quality. Okay, the other thing that we want to do is maybe just take a look at it. So we're not going to be doing any image cropping. We know that because everything seems to be in pretty good order. Let's take this image here. We don't want to use our proxy anymore because now we want to apply actual batch edits. So I know that I've reviewed this in the past, but just to recap it again, what we're going to review now is how to record history and then apply it to a large number of images. And you'll do that by activating your actions folder here. You do that from window and then checkmark actions. And then under actions, you want to create either a new folder if you don't have one, but I have this guy here called photogrammetry prep, and I have an action 1 from a batch of images I've done before. I also have the last demo that I showed for Big B fast editing, but let's use photogrammetry prep. We're going to create a new folder. Okay, we'll call this one action 2 and okay. Oh, okay, so that's the whole folder. So actually, let's delete that. We're going to go back to photogrammetry prep. Yeah, we're going to select actions. So that's the paper icon here. We'll call that one action 2 under the set of photogrammetry prep and press record. Okay, so now you can see the record button is lit up red. Everything that we do to edit this is now going to be preserved. And as I said, the lighting here is, I mean, actually just really phenomenal already. From the simple output, but let's just say you wanted to improve the contrast slightly. I think for that, I might just use curves, just gently sort of darken the specimen and brighten the background just a tiny bit. So you can see I did that in such a marginal amount. I think, to be honest, that's all we want to do. At 44.2%, let's just take it up to 100% and take a look at the clarity. I mean, you can see every individual hair, and we're not really magnified. This is just a one-to-one replication of the actual sample. If you did want to maybe do a minor sharpen, again, I would recommend a smart sharpen. And okay, so it looks like we're on the stage here. Let's just kind of move over and find some of these hairs. It's a good area to look. So let's just take it up to maybe 12% and see the difference. And if there is any noise, I think, so let's just take it down to 0, see how much noise comes back. It's very little bit, but maybe do a 25% noise reduction. Take a look at our radius. I wouldn't recommend doing a high radius. I would do something smaller, around 5, just to make sure that we're just preserving clarity and detail of our specimen. So this is, again, a very, very slight change, but we'll apply those just for the sake of doing a bulk action. Okay, so that's all the modifying we're going to do. So we're going to press stop here, and same as before, in order to apply all of those edits, we're going to go to Scripts, Image Processor, and we're going to select the folder that we would like to work with. Okay, so in this case, we need to find our external hard drive, find the specimen we've been using, ending in 545, and select our final folder and press OK. We want to then select our action. In this case, it's photogrammetry prep. Instead of action 1, this time we're doing action 2. And here you have the option to save it as a TIFF, PSD, or JPEG, or all of the above. So you can check all of these and it'll create its own folder. You can save all of your edits as an output as a TIFF, and you can save all of your edits output as a JPEG. Again, for the applications I'm doing today, which are just demo, and for the sake of speed, we're going to stick with just JPEG. So I'll press run, and now that this, we're going to let this sort of process on its own for a bit. So here is the JPEG folder. It's just been created. in the final output, and all of the images, once they're edited, it's going to go through these one by one. They're going to be stored in this JPEG folder, so you can take a look at Photoshop processing all of these images for us automatically. So again, once these are completed, I'm going to circle back, and then we will start to import these into Agisoft Metashape to render a 3D model.